Hi witches. Today I want to talk about spiritual protection. It's something we have not gone over yet, which I really should have gone over this to begin with, like right after the witch's pyramid or even before it. But I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I want to talk about how to protect yourself as a person, as a witch, which really concerns protecting your aura. And I also want to talk about protecting an area or a place that you will do spiritual work, or really just any place for any reason that you just really want it to be protected, like your home, your business, and things like that. So, to begin with, when it comes to protecting yourself, it has to do with your aura. And for those of you who do not know, your aura is the energy field that surrounds your body. And you're going to want to have that charged up with light energy, because that is the type of energy that's protective. Light energy. Y'all best always wants to say hi during these videos. So, about the light. Okay. So there's a technique that I personally use to, kind of charge my own aura with the light energy. And really there's no right or wrong way to do it, because it's going to be different for each person, whatever feels right to you, as a witch, as a practitioner, as a spiritual being. We're all going to be at different levels, y'all. So we're going to use different techniques. And it's just going to manifest in different ways. But for me personally, what I do is I will center myself before any type of magic that is to be done, or even just before leaving my home for any reason at all. But you definitely want to do this before ritual and spell work, y'all. But really it's good to do just to do it. Like I just do it anytime I leave my house. So what I do is I center myself, which basically means you kind of quiet your mind, free yourself of outward distractions. It's like coming into yourself, like you meditate in a way, and you just retreat into your mind, into yourself. It's called centering. And I do that. I go ahead and do that for a few minutes, just depending, like really if I'm doing this, but if I'm just going out or something, I'll do it kind of in an expedited, fast way. But if I'm going to be doing a ritual or some type of magic, I usually kind of take a little bit longer doing it, because you're going to want more light and more protection when you're doing spells and magic, and you're interacting with spirits and other energies. Is going to be different from if you're just going out and interacting with other people. So I just do it. I do the same technique, but I do it for either longer or shorter, depending on how much protection I feel that I need. So anyways, I meditate, I get centered, and then it's very simple. You just visualize. Some people see it differently. I've noticed whenever I used to have a coven, I asked the other members how did they view the light whenever they were visualizing the light coming to them. And they viewed it differently from me. To me, the light, I view it as golden light. And this was without trying to control the visualization. In the sense of the color, like you do want to control the visualization in the sense of you're drawing light into your aura, of course. But as far as the colors and all that, I mean, you can control all that if you want, and just make it the different colors or whatever. But to me, I didn't try to control the color. I just visualized light flooding into me, which you're going to want to view it coming from above, down, through your crown chakra, and then just into the rest of your aura. And this is also very cleansing. You could do this as a cleansing ritual or as a cleansing meditation if you feel that there are negative things already in your aura or already clinging to you. This will also cleanse it as well as protect you. But to me, the light, I visualized it as golden light with like sparkles in it. Some other people that I know have viewed it as white light, just white. Some people view it as red light, different colors. There's really no wrong or right for that. Now, if you do get into color magic and you want to charge your aura with a specific influence, for instance, if it's not just that you're trying to do for protection, you can actually purposely choose a color that resonates with what you're trying to charge your aura with. And you can do the same thing where you visualize the light, but you'll visualize it in that specific color for the influence that that color rules over or brings to your aura. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this, but predominantly in this video, I want to focus on the protective aspect of what you can do with this light in your aura. So you just visualize it flooding in from the divine source, whether you call that God, I call it Hecate, because I view her as everything divine. Whatever you call the source, whatever you call God or the divine, even if it's many gods, whatever, you can just visualize this protective light and this powerful light coming from that deity or that energy or that God. And you just visualize it flooding into your aura and coming down through your crown chakra. You can visualize it actually penetrating into your body first and then spreading to the rest of your aura. And then once it's going to start to fill up your aura, and you're going to feel it also whenever you visualize these things with magic, y'all. It will actually evoke emotional reactions, and you'll feel it emotionally filling up your aura. And you're gonna feel it filling up, and when it gets to a certain point, would you quit? Y'all, Vesta's over here biting me. She wants some attention. But you're gonna get to this point to where you feel that it's reaching the capacity, that it's filling up your aura to where it's just all full up. And when it gets to that point, you have to lock it in place. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna visualize it and will it to. Y'all remember the witch's pyramid. Always, in every magic that you do, apply the witch's pyramid. So you're going to will it and visualize it to become crystalline or hard into like this impenetrable barrier in your aura. So this light is going to become a solid. You're going to make that real with your visualization and with your willpower. You're going to make the solidifying of this light real for you. And that's really all it takes. And you're going to crystallize the aura. And this is what's called locking it in place. And then it will stay like that. It does diminish over time, y'all. So don't think that you can just do this one time and then it's done forever. You're going to want to keep doing this regularly. Like I said, I do it every time before I go out of my home. Or every time that I'm going to do a spell or a ritual, I always redo it. So you're going to want to keep redoing it. And you'll feel when it's ready to be done again. Because you'll feel that sort of a sense of that barrier. You'll feel it begin to diminish and weaken over time. And I think there was one thing that I had heard before or read before or something where they say that when it comes to establishing protection or just an energy field around a person or a place, it diminishes. I think they said every 6 hours it begins to diminish. So when you think about that, that means there's like these 6-hour periods each day. So from midnight to dawn is a 6-hour period. From dawn to the afternoon is a 6-hour period. Or not afternoon, but just to noon. Okay, then from noon to dusk is another 6 hours, and then from dusk to midnight again is another 6 hours. So, I don't know about the relevance of all that, but to me that kind of makes sense, that these different shifts in the day's energy will have an effect on energy fields. So basically that means you're just going to want to keep reestablishing that protection regularly. You're going to keep it maintained. And like I said, I don't do it every 6 hours, but I definitely do it every time that I leave my home, or every time that I'm going to do a ritual or some type of magic. So you guys need to understand that you're going to need protection, especially when you start to get into magic and witchcraft and working with energies and spirits. You become more sensitive to energies when you do this, because you're training yourself to be sensitive to other energies and stuff. So you definitely need to know about protective magic and techniques, so that it's like turning on a switch or whatever. When you get into this type of stuff, the occult, you are making yourself sensitive. So you don't want that on all the time. You know, you want it to be on when you're consciously working with these things. But then, you know, when you're going about your regular day-to-day life, or when you're sleeping, that's another time when you definitely need protection, is when you're sleeping. You are very vulnerable, and your energy fields are vulnerable because there's no consciousness there. Your consciousness is not there to maintain your energy fields, and it's somewhere else. It's in the dream world, or it's just in the unconscious itself. So you're going to want to establish these things before you go to sleep, really. And just in the other times of the day when you're just doing your mundane day-to-day life and you're not thinking about spiritual things, you want to have these protections in place so that you're not sensitive all the time, unless you're trying to be, for rituals and stuff like that. So let me see if there's anything else I need to add about the aura. No, I think that's it, y'all. If I think of something else, I will definitely bring that up again in a new video. Okay, but now I want to move on to talking about protecting your areas, your home, your workspace, your ritual areas. These all are going to require protection too. And how you would do this is really, once again, up to you also, because the different traditions will tell you to establish protection in different ways. For instance, there is something called casting a circle, which really comes from Wicca and kind of the neo-paganism movement traditions, where they will cast a circle by calling the elemental watchtowers of each direction of north, east, south, and west. You can do it that way to protect an area or a ritual space. You can do something called the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which comes from ceremonial magic, which isn't really calling elemental spirits, but it's calling on almost like angelic spirits to come and guard and protect an area by banishing whatever is there already, and then it establishes a perimeter of protection to where only what you're calling on can enter. And the same thing with the casting of the circle. It's the same thing. It banishes whatever's already there and establishes this perimeter that only what you're calling on can come into your area. And now with these things, y'all, these types of protections, they do not follow you as a person. They are established in an area. They will protect an area when you cast a circle. When you do this lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, they are bound to that area that you do it in, and they will only stay there and protect that perimeter. So this is important to know because you're going to want to have both of these types of protection in place that I'm talking about in this video. You're going to want to protect yourself and your aura, and you're going to want to do that first and foremost because it has to do with the expending of your energy. Because if you protect an area first and then you protect yourself, you're kind of entrapping that energy to be bound to you, meaning that the area that you protected first and then you protect your aura, it's like it's bringing that, it's linking the permanent protection of that area to then your aura. So it's kind of like it's it's going to drain more energy from you, to simplify it. But if you protect your aura first and then the area around you, this means that you can then leave that area and you will not be linked to it and it won't be draining you anymore, or it wouldn't be draining you at all, because you did it in that way. So you definitely need to protect your aura first and then the area. If that didn't make sense to y'all guys, go ahead and comment or talk to me about it, because I just want to make sure that these things are very clear to you all. So if that didn't make sense, or if anything I say doesn't make sense to you, go ahead and comment and ask me about it, and I'll try to clear it up. So personally with me, I do the casting of the circle, where I call in the elemental spirits to protect an area. For instance, with my home, and specifically too with my bedroom and my ritual area. Because y'all, I used to have an entire extra bedroom that I used as a ritual area, or as a temple. And it was separate from where I slept and all that. But I mean, it was all good and everything, but it just didn't feel right to me to have it separate. Now, it might be different for y'all, or for anyone who's watching this. You may like, and it may feel right to you, to have your ritual area separate from your actual bedroom. But to me, it felt more right, considering my closeness with Hecate as her oracle and stuff like that, where she really gives me visions in my sleep, is the main reason really why I felt the need to go ahead and have my altars and my ritual workspace merged with my bedroom and stuff. Because if you look back to the ancient history, I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but if you look back to the ancient history of the Greeks, where they had these temples, specifically the oracle to Asclepios, the Greek god, I think I'm saying that name right, the Greek god of healing. They had the oracle to him, where the people who came there would go into the temple, do rituals, and then they would sleep there. And then during their sleep, that god of healing, Asclepios, would communicate with them and commune with them. It's really an oracular type thing, really. So that is why, personally for me, I felt to bring my ritual area and merge it with my actual sleeping bedroom area too. Now, it might not be the same for you. You might feel that you need to have those two separate, and that's fine as well. But what I was going to say is that you can cast these circles even within themselves. Like, that's what I was getting at. I cast a circle around my home, my entire home, and then I also, once that is established, then I will also cast a circle around my bedroom itself and this area itself, because it's like a more intimate, smaller area to protect. For instance, I will allow some people into my home, but I will not allow those certain people into my bedroom. You see what I mean? So there's different levels of protection that you need to have established, where some people can come into certain levels of protection, and then not come into other levels of it. And then, of course, and then with your own aura, you will not also have that established as your most private area of protection, that you will not really want to let anyone in unless it's like a partner or something like that, or a coven, or other members or groups that you will want to be doing spiritual work with, would be the ones that you actually let into your aura. Or at least that's how it is for me. I'm not going to tell y'all how to do it, but just sharing my kind of personal views of it all. So I establish a protection around my home. Once again, I allow certain people into that. And then as far as my bedroom and ritual area, even fewer people are allowed in here. Because the whole reason of doing this types of protection is because you don't want certain influences and energies in your intimate areas where you're establishing your power and your kind of spiritual atmosphere. You're going to want it to be unique and kind of crafted and honed in to you personally and to the gods and spirits that you work with. It's going to be like an intimate thing. So you're going to want to make sure that you have these protections in place so that other influences and energies that you do not want don't get into it. There's other ways to protect your home and other areas. If you don't want to cast a circle, if you don't want to call in any spirits or elementals and stuff like that to protect areas, you can kind of just do it with your own power. But once again, if you do choose to do it this way that I'm fixing to describe, that's going to be linked to you. So it's going to be taking more of your personal energy. So just a heads up with y'all, for y'all, that if you do it in this way that I'm fixing to describe, it's going to cost more of your own energy. And even when you leave that area, that protection is going to still be in place, and it's still going to be drawing on your energy. But if you do it the way with the spirits, and like casting a circle and the banishing ritual of the pentagram, you're calling on other spirits to protect that place. So it's not going to really be draining you even when you leave it, or even when you're in it. So as far as the other methods, you can do a barrier of salt around your home or around your area, which even similar like unto casting the circle and stuff, you're going to have to keep recharging that. It's not something that's just permanent in place. You have to keep recharging it. With all these things, y'all, you have to keep recharging it and reestablishing it. Now, a note that I should say on that is it's going to be different, say, that if you cast a circle of salt, just for example, if you have a magical space set up in the forest somewhere and you only go there sometimes, and every time you go you cast that circle of salt, and then whenever you leave and you don't go back for, like, let's say that you don't go back for months or something, that's all fine or whatever, but you're going to have to keep casting that circle of salt each time, renewed each time you go. Now it's different if you have a certain area or place that, for instance, like if you have a similar setup to like how I do, where it's in your bedroom, and every time that you do a spell or a ritual or something, you're constantly recasting that circle, it is not going to diminish the same way that it would if it was one of these remote areas that you only sometimes go to and are establishing the protection. In the sense of, it's like, how do I want to say this? It's like concentric circles of protection that are just continuously being set up here in my area. And it may be the same that you're doing the same type of thing. So with that, really the protection becomes stronger and stronger each time. And which means it's also going to make you more powerful each time that you do that, because every time it's building up more and more of your atmosphere and your spiritual energy in that confined area, in that circle. And the fact that you're not letting it diminish and you just keep redoing it over and over again, is really going to become like this strong, very strong barrier that does not allow any energies that are not associated with you, that you do not want, into that area. So in that sense, it's going to purify that area and make it purely your energy and the gods that you're working with and the energies that you're working with. It's going to be built up in a pure state in the area that you're doing this in. So that's another good tip for y'all. If you don't already do this, I definitely recommend that you start, because you will see enhancements in your levels of power and in the spell work and rituals that you're doing. You will discover that it becomes more powerful if you start establishing these protections. A lot of what we would call failures with magic is because, or one of the major reasons is because the levels of protection are not strong enough, or are not that strong, because you guys either do not know these things, or you're not doing it like how I'm describing, where you just continuously don't let it diminish, but you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it. And so that's just another good thing that y'all need to know. So there's also other methods other than the casting of the circle, other than using salt. You can also use, if you want to go more down the hoodoo or voodoo route, you can use red brick dust. That's a pretty powerful thing too. But once again, with that type, it's going to be calling on your energy even when you're not there. It's going to be using up your energy. What's another one is sulfur. You can use sulfur powder as the same thing. However, you should know sulfur expels dark energies and dark entities. So if you're trying to do rituals for dark magic, you do not want to use sulfur, because you're going to, in essence, it's going to be counterproductive to what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do dark magic, don't use sulfur. However, if you're trying to do something like good or whatever, or you're only calling on good spirits, then sulfur is the perfect thing to use. Or if there's something going on where there's like a dark presence haunting you, or someone that you care about or something, you're going to want to use sulfur definitely to be rid of it from that area. The same thing kind of with the salt. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to banish away any type of evil energies. So if you're trying to do evil magic, then you don't want to use salt or sulfur. You could also use water, like storm water, rainwater, holy water. You can consecrate water yourself by calling on your gods and deities to bless it and make it holy. You can mix it up with salt. I mean, there's really infinite ways that you can do it, you guys. But what really matters is that you're putting that energy and you're employing the witch's pyramid behind it. In your mind and in your spiritual self. You're using that along with the physical objects. And so if you have any questions about these things, about protection and all that, go ahead and leave a comment, ask me about it. You guys come out to my group on Facebook, Empowerment for Witches. You can search that in the Facebook search bar, find it. Come out to that group. There's also a link to it in my channel. If you go to my channel, there's a Facebook icon. There's 3 Facebook icons. One leads to my profile, one leads to my group, and one leads to my and one leads to my Facebook page for my Etsy shop, which if you guys need some spiritual work done also, in my channel there's also a link. There's the Etsy icon link, it's the E, and that goes directly to my Etsy shop, where if you need some spiritual work done, if you need a reading, a tarot reading, I'm very psychic, y'all. I'm very good at what I do when it comes to clairvoyance and readings, tarot readings. I know how to do pendulum readings, tarot card readings is what I'm really like an expert at, which I don't mean to brag, y'all, but really I've been doing tarot cards since I was like 14, and I'm 24 now, and I've been doing it this whole time, and I take it very seriously. It's probably one of the types of divination that I was just always naturally gifted in, but I have become more and more better the more that I've done it, so I can do that really well. So if you need that done, come out to my Etsy shop, send me a message, we'll talk, and all that. So I think that's going to cover it for protection. As far as using your energy to protect your aura and your space. Now, there's other types of protection, like talismans and amulets and witch bottles, but I'm going to do separate videos on those, because those are more of a specific type of thing that you can be using. But I think that's going to sum it up for this video. I really can't think of anything else to add, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video now as far as spiritual protection. So I hope that helps. I hope that you use these techniques, and I hope they work well for you. And let me know how they work for y'all, guys, because I really like to know not only your questions, but I like to know how these things work for you. Because that then kind of helps me know as far as how good I'm teaching it all. So go ahead and let me know how that works, y'all. Hail to the witches, blessed be, and I'll be right back with more topics.